In this final video about the sections of the Code of Ethics, I wanted to talk with you a little bit about several other sections that we're not going to go into great detail about in the videos, but we will be discussing a little bit in class. So I wanted you to be aware of some of the other sections that we feel are very important and some of the main points within these sections. You have to know that clients must be provided with reasonable access to their records. We need to let clients know in writing how they're able to access their records and provide them with an outline of the steps to go about accessing these. It's part of what we do as social workers in being able to assist them. Many agencies now charge for clients to have copies of their records. However, they can also sign releases of information at most agencies to have their records transferred for ongoing care or for continuity or for additional services. So access to records is important for the clients to understand how to go about doing this. We also wanted to make sure that you're aware and should be aware from other classes that under no circumstances are social workers to ever engage in sexual activities or sexual contact with their clients. This is something that you'll see in every communication that you have with the board and the newsletter, that folks do have inappropriate relationships with their clients. And it's something that the code outlines very specifically as social workers. Sexual contact and activities are to never occur under any circumstances. I want to make sure that you understand that fees for services that are provided by social workers are always fair and reasonable. We want to make sure that clients have access to our services. And so we understand as social workers that they may need to pay for these services, but this is typically going to be done and addressed through the agency where the worker is employed. But we want to make sure that those costs are fair and reasonable, that folks have access to our services, not just based on financial need or financial burden. We want to make sure that we're providing them with fair access to our services. We also, in that same thing, need to make sure that bartering is avoided for services. This occurs a lot in more rural communities where folks will try to trade services for goods, other services, but we want to try to make sure we avoid that and have a fee for payment payment schedule that people follow so that these services are the same and the fees are the same for all individuals. We don't see that as much through agencies, but bartering does occur. The next thing that we want to make sure you're aware of is the termination of services and how important termination is to a client and to their progress in the process of moving through social work and engagement with clients. Termination should always be done in the most appropriate way with clients, and that is through their participation. We as the worker may feel that termination is appropriate and want to make sure that we tell our clients why we feel it's appropriate so that they're also on board with termination and feeling as though they've come to an end of services. Now, sometimes we do that because they've made lots of progress and we feel like they're ready to be completed with services. And sometimes we may need to terminate services because people aren't really ready for services at that point. But we want to make sure that the termination process is always acted upon and that folks feel as though they are a part of that termination, no matter what the reasoning may be. It's very, very important that social workers don't abandon their clients. Even sometimes termination through a letter or a phone communication, if that's the only way termination can occur, is better than nothing. So we want to make sure that when we terminate with clients, they feel as though they're a part of that process and are engaged in that process. In Section 2 of the Code of Ethics, it talks about social workers' engagement with colleagues and other professionals. And we just want to make sure that you understand the importance of treating colleagues and other professionals with respect and reading through Section 2 about your involvement with colleagues and other agency professionals may be something you really want to do, as this is very important.